Prince George's County Police Department. This incident actually began last night when the Baltimore City Police reported to us that a car had been stolen from their jurisdiction. This morning, our detectives were able to track it to this location where we are along Crane Highway. Two of our detectives from the Washington Area Vehicle Enforcement Unit arrive in separate vehicles and see the two suspects in the stolen car. They call their supervisors and get permission for a takedown. At that point, one of our officers sees a suspect pull a weapon. A witness reports hearing the officer yell to the suspect, "Don't touch the weapon." Shortly thereafter, the officer discharges his weapon multiple times. Both of the armed suspects are shot. Both have been transported to the hospital. Both are in non-life-threatening condition at this time. Right now, we're looking into whether those armed suspects fired their weapons or not. Our officers were not injured in this incident. Preliminarily, we are looking into the possibility that these armed suspects were here to rob the bank on the property. We'll have more details on that as we can provide. We do know that a pair of gloves have been recovered in the stolen car. Our officer who discharged his weapon has been with the Prince George's County Police Department for 4 years, but he has an additional 12 years experience with a local law enforcement agency. Right now, our investigators are looking into what witnesses may have seen or heard, checking for surveillance video, and we ask that if anyone does have information about this officer-involved shooting to call the number 301-856-2660. We expect this shopping center to be blocked off for another several hours as our evidence technicians do their jobs. Any questions?
Can you discuss any injuries with police officers not injured at all? What were the injuries of the two suspects?
At this early point in the investigation, we're not going to get into where the suspects were injured. We do know as of right now it's not considered to be life-threatening for either.
What time did this all start and what time did it start Baltimore?
The call for the shooting was at 10:46 this morning. At what point last night Baltimore City notified us that they had a stolen car, I'm not sure.
Is there any reason to believe that these people who were armed had any affiliation with Baltimore Police?
We're working to develop information on who those suspects are.
Why did they know the link to Prince George's County cars were stolen in Baltimore? Why was their contact here?
That was probably a level of detail that investigators are not prepared to release at this point.
What type of car was reported stolen?
It's a Mustang.
In terms of the bank robbery angle, were they able to get equipment with them in the car or something like that?
At this point, what we're prepared to release is that both suspects were armed with handguns and that a pair of gloves was recovered in the car. What more we can say about why our working theory is that they were here to rob the bank, we can't say yet.
What was the description given about the suspects from Baltimore Police?
I'm not aware that Baltimore notifies us of the actual suspects. They notified us of the stolen car.
Did they say anything about it, people being armed and being connected with it?
I'm not aware of that.
Is the car still on the property? Can we see it from here?
It's a stolen black Mustang.
Is it on the property still?
Yes, it's still here.
How many officers involved in that?
2. And when I say two officers approached the stolen car. One discharged his duty weapon.
So are both vehicles, do both vehicles have bullet holes? Both the Mustang and the pickup?
No, I'm not aware of where the bullet holes are located.
Where the shooting, I just were asking, is the shooting, was anybody in the car? Were the police officers or the suspects in the car?
We're working to determine who was exactly where.
Can you talk about what the wave unit does? I mean, you do this almost daily, correct?
So their sole job is devoted to working with area law enforcement agencies to track stolen vehicles and to get the suspects who have taken these cars, very often with the intent of causing violent crime.
Were both of them TGPD, since it's a multi-jurisdictional task force?
They are our officers, correct.
Do you know how many shots were shot?
Multiple shots.
Where are the officers now?
They are with our investigators. All right, guys, the next step will be, unless there's something significantly different to report.
Julie Parker for the Prince George's County Police Department giving us a fairly detailed briefing, adding considerable to what we know about this. 2 people injured in a police-involved shooting. Julie characterized their injuries as being non-life-threatening. What we know is that last night, the Baltimore City Police Department called the Prince George's Police Department to say there was a stolen vehicle, and very specifically this Mustang. And it was found in that giant parking lot on the Crane Highway by Pennsylvania Avenue. And these are scenes from earlier. Notice there's the pickup truck with its left front end in that suspect Mustang right there. This is part of what they call the Waze unit, and their whole thing is to track stolen vehicles because very often they are used in the commission of other crimes later on. They were asking for permission to make an arrest when one of the cops from that Waze unit saw, and these are Prince George's County Police as it turns out here, saw one of the guys inside the car pull a weapon. It was at that point that the shooting started, and apparently both of the suspects were injured. Julie said there were 2 weapons recovered. We showed you a picture of one of the handguns earlier. Again, non-life-threatening injuries. The cop who did the shooting, there's the picture of the handgun right there. The officer who did the shooting, described as a 4-year veteran with the PGPD, but had also had more than 12 years experience in a local law enforcement agency as well. So a veteran cop who did the shooting here. And apparently put out of commission a couple of, at the very least, car thieves and perhaps bank robbers. They're basing their theory that this was perhaps being used in the commission of a bank robbery because they found some gloves in the vehicle and those 2 handguns as well. That's what we know, and that's the departure point for this story now. Brad Bell there at the scene. He's working his sources. He'll have more for us throughout the rest of this afternoon. And if there are more dispatches from the Prince George's County Police Department, we will, of course, bring them to you.